Hey, welcome. Carm here to Remarkable Results Radio's podcast episode 423 and number 10 in the Shop Talk series. Do you have plans for your future? Sell your business or succeed it? Interesting thoughts, huh? The Shop Talk panel is sharing their story on their life-changing event and what they are doing now.
Is that typically owner, the last 5 to 6 years of his career, he sits there and goes, I don't want to spend money on this. I don't want to send my guys out to get educated. I'm looking to get out of the business in 5 years. And so what they end up doing is stagnating their business or actually declining their business because they're not aggressively growing it.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to Remarkable Results Radio. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results. Hey, Carm Capriato here, and in a moment, a discussion on what is life like when you sell or retire. Hey, I'm proud to partner with Napa Auto Care and the upcoming 2020 Napa Expo. Now, do you want to keep up on the latest innovations in the auto care industry? I'm positive that you do. But please join me and your peers in Las Vegas. Write this date down. April 6th through 9th, 2020. Be at the Napa Expo to get the latest innovations in the auto care industry. This is an event you don't want to miss. Contact your Napa store to learn more. Hey, I'd like to know what matters to you. Topics, guests, formats, you name it. Write me, carm@remarkableresults.biz. Love to hear from you. Hey, you're about to enjoy another installment in the Shop Talk series. We're up to number 10 now. Hey, they're all worth a listen as we go deep beyond the headlines with shop owners who want to share their experiences. Some of the hottest topics and context you'll find in the aftermarket's premier digital realm, right here, where you listen to learn just one thing. Get ready to listen to former shop owners and co-founders of Vision Kansas City as they talk about their decision and what they're doing now. Most importantly, they suggest that you plan ahead for your future. We also get into the future as they see it. My guests for Shop Talk 10 are veterans and influencers in the industry. Ron Haugen, a consultant, an instructor, and a former shop owner from Westside Auto Pros in Des Moines, Iowa. Dick Jobe is also with us, and he owns a company called Machine Head, and they're a metal art maker. He's a former shop owner of Downtown Import Service in Kansas City, who was well known as Dr. Volvo. Doug Stoll is here, former owner of 2 shops and is now a part-time business coach. He's also a co-founder of Vision. And Jerry Holcom, a co-founder of Vision, along with Doug Stoll. And Jerry is currently president of the Midwest Auto Care Alliance, Milwaukee, and owner of SNS Service in Kansas City. Jerry is our only non-retiree, and he brought this panel together for me. Find the talking points for this episode 423, my guests' bios and more at remarkableresultsradio.com/E423. Now remember, the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom is the very definition of what we aim, not just for business, but for our personal growth as well. Hey, what's next for you? We're in the Vision KC 2019 studios, and I have an interesting panel. I know you can't see anybody, but I have 4 guests in the room. I try to tell people that, where do these ideas come from? Well, I'm connected to the industry, and I get this newsletter from this organization called Milwaukee. Of course, everyone knows. Can you say that 5 times fast?
Waka, 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 waka.
Okay. Well, we got that out of the way. That was Jerry Holcom, who's the president of Milwaukee. And he wrote this great article in his president's message to the organization, and I read it, and I was really inspired by it. And he was saying, I've got these great friends, and they've kind of gone on to different greener pastures. 2 sold their businesses, 1 sold and then became, and started a great new business. And I thought that it would be so interesting in our industry to get some of these stories told. So here's who's with me. Jerry Holcom, who continues to own and run SNS Service.
Good morning, Carm.
Hey, Jerry, and who's president of Milwaukee. And I also have Doug Stoll. And Doug, what was your business?
Susquehanna Auto Clinic and the Auto Clinic out in Lee Summit.
Wow. And how many years ago have you decided to go play golf?
I sold a business January 1st, 2003.
That's a long time ago.
Right. I had a goal of retiring at 50, and for some reason it worked out.
Wow. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people over my years in this industry who've always set goals like that, and I haven't seen too many that got there. Good for you. Good for you. You did a lot of things right then.
Well, that and worked a lot of long hours, and when I made mistakes, I made up for them.
Cool, yeah.
Most of my employees and a lot of people thought I was kind of crazy because I was working 70 to 80 hours a week a lot of times. But I told them, I said, my goal is to retire at 50. I'll put in all my time right now because I'll have a lot of time to play later.
16 years ago.
Yep.
Regret it?
Not a bit. There was actually a lot of vendors and stuff were taking bets that within a year I would buy another piece of property and build another shop.
Now, how much did you collect on that bet?
I didn't look back.
Excellent. Well, we want to get into that a little bit more. Dick Jobe is also with us. And Dick, you were known as Dr. Volvo here in town.
That's correct. I had a Volvo auto repair shop called Downtown Import Service.
Is it still going?
It got sold, and now it's Value Auto Clinic.
Okay.
On
Excellent.
29th and Gillum.
So you sold it. Did you have an idea what you were going to do next?
Yeah, before I sold it, I had already gone back to school and got a degree in machine tool technology and advanced welding, and knew that I liked doing machine work and welding, but wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with it. Started out remanufacturing cylinder heads and turbochargers, and it was just about the time that the Crossroads Arts District became up and running in downtown Kansas City, and most of my friends were artists and they worked in the art galleries, and so I began to start doing artistic work, making brackets and hangers and just all kinds of crazy art stuff.
Let me go back to while you were running the business. Did you have the juice about this welding idea and the machining idea, or when you sold the business you said, well, what am I going to do now?
I had already started the Machine Head, which is the business I own now.
I want the listener to appreciate what he just said, Machine Head. Such a unique business that he has. And I spent some time on your website and took a look at the video, and I was amazed at what you do now today. And we want to cover that because I think it's not only a great story, but what you evolved into being able to do for the community and the absolutely unbelievable work you put out. And who would imagine that, people probably come up to you and says, so how'd you get your start? Well, I owned a shop. I was Dr. Volvo. And now you're building pieces of art that are all over the country, right?
That's correct.
Wow.
That's correct.
Well, we'll talk more about that. Ron Haugen's here. Everybody knows, just like everybody knows Jerry Holcom in the industry. Everybody knows Ron. He's out. He's writing articles. He's doing a lot of teaching. And I know today or yesterday you did a great seminar here at Vision on business succession and valuation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was we had a great time. It was a great training.
What makes you an expert?
I did it. and it's pretty easy to teach something that you did, because, you just get up there and walk through, this is how I did it. There might be more than one way to do it, but I know how I did it, and it turned out successful, and I have no problem sharing that with people. Okay,
so what are you doing now?
I am doing some coaching for Bob Cooper's group, Elite, on a part-time basis, and I'm living my dream, which is in Puerto Morales, Mexico.
What?
I moved to Puerto Morales, Mexico.
I knew that. I have to tell you something. When I met you, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, and you've been on the show before, so anyone wants to hear some really great stuff. In fact, we did an episode where you absolutely laid out so many great concepts about succession. We sure do know how many people are in our industry. They're thinking about, what do I do now? What do I do next? You told me about your seminar. You pretty much set up the true reality of how you have to look at selling your business and what it's worth.
Absolutely.
So right now, just give us a quick tip. One of the most important things successors need to know.
You've got to plan ahead. It's going to take at least 3 years, probably 5 years. But the one thing you have to keep in mind about your business is it's worth what it's worth. And what I mean by that is, the banks that do lending to buy a business, nobody cares if you've got the latest and greatest in Snap-on alignment equipment with a Kung Fu grip. The business is worth its cash flow. And that's all they look at. As a matter of fact, the bank that financed the sale of my business, they never even once asked for a list of assets, equipment, because they were looking at the sales and the recast net income, the net profit of the business. They're loaning money, and their goal is to get the money back. They don't want the equipment. So they're looking, is this business healthy enough to pay us back? And if the answer is yes, and the buyer has relevant experience and it's properly valued, you're going to get a rubber stamp approval.
So a part-time business coach for Elite, training, coming back here to the States, doing some training. How long have you sold the business? How long ago?
September 28th, 2018.
Okay, 2018. So we're, what, 6 months?
6 months.
6 months in?
Yep.
How do you feel about it?
I feel great. I've never looked back. I'm doing the coaching. I'm coming back to Vision. I love the people, and I like to stay connected with the industry. I like to give back to a business that just totally blessed me. I mean, basically made a dream come true. So that's why I do that kind of stuff. I like to help people. As far as the day-to-day operation of a shop, when I had a shop, I loved it. I mean, I was fully engaged in it. But since walking away from it, it's not something I've ever missed.
Thanks for that. By the way, we absolutely have to cover that you've been, you know, everybody says you're the founder of Vision, but I think you had a co-founder, didn't you?
Sure did. The guy sitting right to my right, Doug Stoll.
To your right, Doug Stoll. We'll get to that in a minute. And when these guys decided to sell, quote unquote, or retire, were you worried you were going to lose a really good friend?
Not at all, Carm. Kind of an interesting story. Doug and I, our lives and our careers paralleled each other quite a bit. He was the 1993 Napa Tech of the Year. I was the 1995 CarQuest Excellence Award winner. We opened shops about the same time. We did a lot of stuff alike. Not only did we basically start the Vision program, we got together, decided we needed some more training, some more stuff in Kansas City. We started a second bottom line group. Bob O'Connor had one bottom line.
Right.
Doug and I got together, drove to St. Louis, talked to several people, got them started. So we've done a lot of things together and a lot of things alike. We had this dream of both retiring at the same time and going back to the same fishing hole.
What happened?
Doug made it. I didn't.
All right. Okay. So thank you for taking me down this pathway, because my next question was, when Doug called you up that day and said, I'm serious, I'm out, I have an offer, I'm going, what'd you think?
I was happy for Doug, but it wasn't any surprise.
Because you knew of his goal.
I knew of his goal, and Doug has always been one that he can see what he's got to do, and he just does it.
Doug.
No changes, didn't make any difference. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Got it. Doug, when you made that decision, did you ask yourself or sit down and say, what am I going to do next in my life? And basically, I guess what I want to know is, for the last 16 years, what the heck you been doing?
Well, no, I had no problem with that. I love woodworking. I've basically built 2 different houses that we've lived in. General contracted both of my automotive repair shops before I opened them.
Okay.
And did a lot of the work in the construction of it for that. So I love hands-on stuff. I like to fish, hunt, stuff like that. Probably my biggest mistake after I retired was I never would play golf, because I didn't know how, while I was in business, because I knew golf cost a lot of money and it took too much time away from my business. So once I retired, I took some golf lessons, picked up golf, got hooked very badly.
Well, wait a minute. Let me tell you how badly. So here we are at Vision KC, and I'm right on the corner of the expo floor, where there is an unbelievable number of booths here. In fact, they even spill out into the hallway. It's a heck of a showing. So when Dick came in and Doug came in to the studio about a half hour early, he said, "Can I go out there and look?" And I said, "I don't know. You better get permission from Jerry." "Oh, we know Jerry." "Oh, fine. Okay." So they go out there, and doesn't Dick come back with golf balls?
Yeah. I found a booth that had a golf setup, so I took advantage of it.
Very good. Good for you.
I stopped at that booth.
Those are kind of, those are ding, 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 zone in. You just zone in. You're always looking for that box of 3, aren't you?
Yeah.
Good for you. You play a lot of golf then?
I try to play 4 days a week. On Wednesday, I also am an elite business development coach. Been with Bob and Cooper and his organization for about little over 5 years now.
That's what we're digging for. That's what we want to know about. See, because so here it is, everyone. You haven't gotten out either.
Well, not totally, but
I get it.
But the nice thing about, and Ron could vouch for this, the nice thing about what we do as business development coaches, we could travel anywhere in the country. and still hold our meetings with our clients. The technology with computers and cell phones and everything, you can go anywhere and you're still in touch with your clients. And that allows my clients to, if there's a need, to call me at any time because they know they can get a hold of me.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I've loved coaching. I've loved vision.
Hey, Carm here to highlight why the Napa Auto Care program may be right for you. Let's talk about warranties. How long do you warranty your repairs or services for your customers? Does your warranty cover your customers anywhere in the country? Now, if you're a Napa Auto Care Center, you have confidence in knowing your customers are covered for 24 months or 24,000 miles nationwide. Now, that's because one of the many benefits of the Napa Auto Care program is the nationwide Peace of Mind warranty. The nationwide Peace of Mind warranty provides the best coverage in the industry, and it allows your shop to compete with other national brands. It's a written warranty that is honored at more than 17,000 Napa Auto Care Center locations from Florida to California and everywhere in between. Wow, 17,000 locations. That's more than any other automotive repair brand. When you're part of the Napa Auto Care program, no matter where your customers travel, if they experience a problem with a covered repair, they can count on Napa Auto Care to be nearby to get them back on the road. The nationwide Peace of Mind warranty covers parts and labor on qualifying repairs and services for 24 months or 24,000 miles. And the warranty claim process is easy too. If you're ready to give your customers the security and confidence of a nationwide warranty and provide them with peace of mind, knowing that they are receiving a quality repair or service, especially if they're unable to return to you for warranty, then Napa Auto Care may be right for you. Contact your local Napa Auto Parts store today and learn more about the nationwide Peace of Mind warranty and the hundreds of other reasons to become part of the Napa Auto Care family, the largest network of independent automotive repair shops in the country. Tell me about the coaching moment when you've really helped someone turn a great corner.
Oh, I'm working with a client now that 5 years ago he came on with me, doing about $700,000 a year in a little 5-bay shop with 3 technicians. I convinced him to get another technician. I convinced him to get another service advisor. A year and a half ago, we bought a 10-bay shop in another location up in the Minneapolis area. And it did $1.5 million this last year. The little 5-bay shop did $1.4 something million. And now all of a sudden there's this other great big shop with 18 bays that wants to retire, and he wants my client to go ahead and take it over because of the way my client takes care of his customers and the way he runs his business. So with that advantage, looks like we may be spending another $3.5 million to buy this newest building. And they just, keeps growing from there.
I love it. Did you hear what he just said? We. Did you notice that key word? And I love it. You may not be the banker on this one, but the point of it is that you're so close to your client that you say we.
Exactly.
Wow.
And Ron will vouch for it. I mean, it's like we're on the board of directors of the business.
Right.
And so nothing gets done major in the business without going through us first.
When you say we, both of you together? No.
No.
Okay.
Him with his clients.
Okay.
Me with mine.
Really?
So,
is that a requirement to be on the board of directors?
No. It's not. It's visionary like that.
Okay.
If they don't want us participating, and if they're not going to listen to us, the coaching process does not work.
But some people don't quite understand what a board of directors means or is and does.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're like the fake board of directors that they have.
Exactly. I mean, they want to make a decision, and they maybe have a vision, but they know we are there to bounce that vision off of. We're there to show them why or why not that vision won't work.
Well, you know what? You just inspired me to do a coach's corner like this, and all I care about, just tell me the stories of success. Tell me about how they started, where they are, where they're going, and I think that would be just some great storylines to help motivate so many people in our industry. Number one, who are just starting out. Every tech who wants to open their own shop. There's so many resources out there today to help them through the struggles that they shouldn't have to go through if they decide to get help and support. But I also think it shows some creativity in how to do deals. I mean, Ron, you're a great example of how to put stuff together and have many of our mid-range shop operators today look for expansion opportunities, because I think we all know that consolidation is a big factor in our industry. And if the independent's going to survive, a lot of them need to make choices about growth.
Right. I totally agree. And I know when Jerry and I were in the Bottom Line Group with Bob O'Connor, I remember him back in about 1994 or so saying that if by the year 2000, if you don't have at least 10 bays and doing over $1 million of business, you probably won't be able to stay in business. And it's just because all the technology that's come out, all the test equipment we have to have, and the volume of cars we need to work on to justify all that cost.
Let me ask you a question about that stat that you just said. Can I change it to you have to do 1 million and or have 10 bays? Because I think if you have 10 bays, you're doing over 1 million.
You should be doing over 1 million.
Way over.
But
Okay.
If not, you need a business coach.
but back in '93, when the general labor rate around here was about $65 an hour, that was big money. Of course, now when you've got a labor rate of $110 or $120 an hour, you better be doing way over 1 million.
Yeah,
if
relatively,
you got 10 bays.
all the costs went up and everything. Thank you so much for all this. I appreciate the great conversation, Dick.
Yeah.
Please share with our audience the just super unique stuff from your company.
Well, I started out like Jerry and Doug and everybody else with a small auto shop, and got involved with Doug and Jerry and became a member of the Bottom Line Impact Group, and we were all ASA and Vision 2000 and grew that business, and through the help of Jerry and Doug and a lot of other people became fairly successful doing it. And what happened to me was I just decided that I wanted to go down a different road. You know, I'd done it for 20 or 25 years and just decided.
What happens inside of you? I mean, we evolve as a person and as a people. Take me to the day where you said, I'm done and I need to do something else.
Well, essentially what started happening was that my role was not hands-on anymore, but it was about managing and my creativity part of building stuff and that I really love went away, and it was more the managerial part and making sure that everything was running smoothly and all that other, and that kind of, that was hard on me because I'm more of a builder than I was a manager.
Here's the storyline, my takeaway. We have been talking so much in the industry about how are we going to seed our industry. Well, we say, got to get to the parents. We've got to get to the middle schoolers. Well, mom and dad say you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a computer programmer. But deep inside the kid, he wants to work with his hands. He wants to be creative. He wants to do some other things. So he goes through all these courses, and sooner or later he finds out he's got all this debt and he doesn't want to do this anymore. And you just actually broke the code for me. He says, hey, I want to work with my hands. I want to be creative. And my Dr. Volvo shop is not allowing me to be who I am. That was it.
That was it.
Wow.
As technicians, we were fixers. You'd work on something, you'd see it fixed, you'd see it drive away, you'd see it be completed, whatever. When it comes to the management, there's not an immediate, it's fixed.
No gratification.
Not, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the same way as Dick. It's just how I do it. I love to see a change and a repair.
Dick, share with us the website.
Okay, well, we started that website maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it's just a compilation of a lot of the art projects that we've done over the last 20 years.
Where did the name Machine Head come from?
I always liked machinery and machine tools, and at the time, you're a motorhead, and I thought, well, Machine Head might work out for me,
Right.
And so that's how the Machine Head came along. And then at the time, 20 years ago, I had a real good general manager that was helping me, and that allowed me to go back to school because I knew that I wanted to make a change, but I wasn't exactly sure how that was going to happen, but I knew that I needed to gain some knowledge. So I went to Business and Technology College, got the machine tool technology and advanced welding, and I had already outgrown my first building, and we had bought another building that was about twice as big, which was kind of fun to redo that building. And it was interesting because we had Doug and Jerry and a whole bunch of the automotive service group people came in, and we looked at the building, and I gave everybody a floor plan, and they all kind of helped me design how that new building was going to be. And It worked out really, really good, and that became successful. And and I had a real good general manager, but I just knew inside of me, I just was wanting for more creativity. And so after I got done with the school, I took the old building that I started in and started Machine Head. And so essentially I had two businesses going at the same time.
And sooner or later, the love of what you were doing at Machine Head won out.
It did. And one of the other ASA group members decided to buy that business from me, the downtown import service.
You know, isn't that interesting? There's a storyline. Association membership, networking.
Right.
Wow. That's a pretty powerful story.
Right.
And it's an internal candidate, if you will.
Right.
Even though it wasn't, yeah.
And so now what I do is we take interns from Kansas City Art Institute or sculpture department at KU and help them grow, you know, because they come out of school, but they don't necessarily know about metal forming. They have got the basic art, but they don't really have the fabrication end of it. And so there's been a half a dozen of them that we have mentored and set on their way, and they have artwork all over the country now.
You know, just like Jerry said a few moments ago about that fulfillingness, you know, when you fix something and it's now working. Take me back to the project that you can remember in the last few years that you were the most happy with.
One of the biggest ones that I've done that I really, really liked was a project called Flight of Ideas, and it's in Orange County, California at the new Terminal C at John Wayne Airport. And it consists of a 100-foot-long structure of a bird feather and then 21 sculptural birds hanging from it, 60 feet in the air above the baggage terminal.
Oh my.
And that we had to build it and then make everything come apart, make the shipping containers for all the pieces, load the truck, send it out to California, fly out there, install it, raise it up, and dedicate it.
Wow.
So that was a good one. And what we're working on right now that's really an interesting one is it's a 12-foot tall geodesic dome egg that is a DJ booth in Aspen, Colorado. So the DJ will sit inside this egg that's open in the front and look down and be able to see if what he's playing is what everybody's dancing to or whatever, you know. And it's all lit with LED lights, and it's just really sculptural and a really fun build.
Wow. You got to go to Machine Head. I don't know, is it .com, .org? What's the
MachineheadKC.com.
And please, everyone who's listening, you got to do this because you're going to be amazed, realizing that when you see Dick in it, he's one of you. He's a brethren of the industry. He was Dr. Volvo, and now he's just watched the stuff that they're doing and just sit there like I did with my mouth open, saying, you know what? When I see those sculptures everywhere, they have to be built somewhere. Somebody's got to have the juice and the energy and the ideas. And it's just amazing to see that work. Wow, how cool is that?
It's going to be an ad for Dick.
I could use all the help I can get, Jerry. Thank you.
You know, we recently reformed Mwaka.
Yeah.
And the board of directors under me that did all the work on it, I wanted to reward everybody. So I called Dick and I said, can you design something that I can give to the people as a symbol of the work we've done together and the solidity of our organization and everything. Dick came up with the most unbelievably beautiful metal sculpture, and I was able to give one of those to each of the board members and a couple of the committee heads, that the people that really, really, really were involved with the change to Mwaka.
Oh.
I've had nothing but excellent comments on it. In fact, we have one in the silent auction for our scholarship fund.
Guys, let's talk a little bit about then and now. Ron, you've been out for only 6 months, so not a lot has changed. I mean, you've been in it. But what can you tell the audience about what you see, even from your coaching perspective? And now that you have a chance to not be in the daily grind, I bet you're observing a whole lot more about future. What do you see coming up?
I do observe a lot more just, in life in general, because your head's not plugged with, what's the next marketing thing? Do I have to get this out, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, there's certainly a lot more, vision.
Time to study.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And notice things. Yeah. What I see coming in the future, Doug kind of, touched on a little bit. Basically size is going to matter because the cost of doing business is going to get to the point of where a smaller shop that doesn't bring in a lot of money, can't afford the equipment and the tooling and the subscriptions and the training. I think we're also going to see, even in smaller markets, more specialization. We've got Dick here. I mean, he was Dr. Volvo back before towns had Dr. Volvo. But I think you're going to see, more specialization just because of the technology on cars and the cost of servicing them. And of course, the consolidation is definitely, Bob O'Connor, who Doug referenced. I mean, I think he was one of the most visionary people, in our industry. He might have missed that mark by the year 2000, but I mean, it's here now.
Did you go out and walk the floor, Dick? The
Yes,
expo floor?
Yes, I did.
See anything that dazzled you?
The whole thing is just such a. Last time I was at a Vision was probably in Vision 2000.
Wow. Okay.
And to see it now, it's just so upscale, and it's just so much better.
Did you notice some of these high-tech pieces of equipment, the computers, the LEDs, and
Stuff I didn't even recognize anymore.
I bet you.
Yeah.
I bet you. There's a
Really
great
fun.
then and now analogy. And Doug, being out of it for 16 years, but yet coaching, when you walked the expo floor, you went out there and you found your golf balls, of course. But what did you see that you said, OMG?
Well, just out here in the hallway, all the technical equipment that's behind the glass doors, pointing out where the booth locations are, and out in the showroom itself. The technical part is what, I'm 16 years away from. And I was a very technical person, winning the Napa ASE Technician of the Year in '93. That technology is gone. As a business coach, you can still manage without knowing what that technology is because you're managing a business. And the business numbers, the way you manage a business, the customer service, the way you treat your employees, all those things is what makes a business successful.
Okay.
You can always find a technician.
Wait a minute. So I'm one of your coaching clients, and I said, hey, I know we're working together, and I know cash is a little tight, but there's this really cool machine I got to have. And I do my best to sell you on it. And you're sitting there scratching your head and says, what the hell is he talking about? Has that ever happened?
No, not really.
Okay, good.
Not really.
Usually from a coaching perspective, they're not talking about this machine they want to buy. They're talking about this boat or airplane that they think they should buy. That's what I run into.
Jesus. Oh my God.
And you got to justify the cost of everything, and it's hard to make a profit on a boat.
Exactly, or an airplane. Exactly.
Okay, so you two guys are coaches, right? So here I'm your client, and I say, hey, listen, there's this $5,000 piece of equipment that I really like to add to the shop. Yeah, guys, it's really cool and may make us more efficient, we believe. Give me a dialogue. What would you be asking me?
Well, for one, what kind of cars is this piece of equipment taking care of? And if it's a piece of equipment that's taking care of 1 or 2% of their total sales, it's going to be a little hard to justify. But one of the key ones for small shops, a lot of small shops don't have front end alignment machines. So they lose that whole profit center of front end, undercar work in the front, changing struts and shocks. And
somebody told me 3 or 4 weeks ago that alignments are one of the most biggest profit center.
The undercar that you find.
Absolutely.
Because it all hooks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, what you're just the alignment cost to do the alignment is kind of irrelevant. It's everything that caused the wheels to go out and the tires to wear and everything like that. To repair those to get it back to where it is in alignment is the important part. If you don't have an alignment machine, you're not going to properly inspect the front end or the undercarriage because you don't have that big a need to because you can't align it anyway.
Okay, let's
and
get
now
back.
we're talking about $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 worth of equipment we need to buy in order to do that, but I could still justify it.
Okay, but let's go back to my original question. You said, well, how many percent of your customers' cars can you work on that? And I'm going to say, hey, listen, I'm going to grow that. Even though it's 1 or 2%, I have to have this piece of equipment so I can grow it to 10 to 15%. And you say,
if we've got the room in the shop to expand into that area, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Anytime I can grow a profit margin somewhere in this business, if you add on something, like a Limas are a big profit center by itself. So that's a cut of business you may not have until you buy that. Maybe you can start reprogramming cars if you had this piece of equipment. Right now, we're wasting all our time to send them to the dealer to reprogram.
Right.
So go ahead and get it, then let everybody else know that you've got it so they can bring cars to your place.
So, Ron, you and I are working on the same transaction, the same idea. Would you ask me, go do your paperwork, give me an ROI on that?
Well, I might ask you that, but a lot of shop owners aren't going to know how to do that.
Well, okay. But that's the reason you asked.
Right. Yeah. And so you walk them through that process. The other thing is, even though I'm 6 months out of owning a shop, I'm a good 10 years out of working on cars and the technical stuff. So you rely on your staff and you do your research as to what you're going to need for equipment. And like Doug said, you go to your management system. If this is an equipment purchase that you need to work on Volvos and you're not Dr. Volvo and you've worked on 21 Volvos in the last year, it might not be a good investment, a good move. But the other important thing is, when I work with my clients, I help them establish and fund a budget for annual equipment purchase. And we put aside money for that. So when they do need this $5,000 scan tool, they do need the $11,000 widget or whatever the equipment is, the money's there, and we budget it each year so we can continue to grow. And yeah, maybe we're buying something that's a nice to have, not a must have. But, if it's going to improve efficiency, going to improve morale and allow us to grow into a segment of business that we weren't in before, it's probably a good risk. But the key is I don't want them going into debt to buy all this equipment. So first we work on a plan where we can establish an annual budget and fund it.
The cash is in the account.
Exactly. Yeah. When the tool guy's standing there saying, do you want to finance or lease this? And you're like, no, I'm going to trade this check in for it. It's a better deal.
It's a way better deal. Cash is king. Unison, that's great. Hey, listen, thanks for being here. Let's go around the room, and I'm going to ask you a question. Our audience is made up of the service professional, technicians, and then the rest of the industry is a smaller percent. Advice for any shop owner who is contemplating getting in, possibly selling, life after possible retirement, whatever's going through your mind, what would you like to reach out and say, hey, I've been there and done this and I would do it differently, or I have some advice? So I've got no specific rules, but I want you to give your last great positive pitch to the audience.
As somebody that has sold two different businesses, and I don't know how many clients, lots of my clients, we bought other businesses. And what I find the mistake is for the businesses they have bought or are getting ready to buy is that typically owner, the last 5 to 6 years of his career, he sits there and goes, I don't want to spend money on this. I don't want to send my guys out to get educated. I'm looking to get out of the business in 5 years. And so what they end up doing is stagnating their business or actually declining their business because they're not aggressively growing it. And from that point, whenever they go to sell it, it's not worth anything. Like Ron said, it's only worth as much as the cash flow shows. So I aggressively try to get my guys, we've got to find out when you're interested in retiring. And 5 to 6 years before that, we need to aggressively grow as much as we can so that whenever somebody comes in and audits his business and says, he's making great money, he's actually in a growth period and not a decline. So the business is going to be worth quite a bit at that point. And if it's not worth anything when you get out of it, you just wasted, your whole retirement package.
By the way, everybody, that was $1 million piece of advice right there. How many times have you said that over and over, Ron?
Exactly. Two things are going to happen to everybody that's listening to this podcast and everybody that's in this room. We're all at some point in time gonna pass away. But the other thing that's going to happen to every one of us is at some point in time we're going to retire, unless you pass away first. So the majority of us are going to retire at some point in time. Be in control of that. Plan when you want to retire. Do it so you can live life and have fun afterwards. And don't let an illness, a change in family makeup. Don't let an event cause you to retire. Plan your retire and go out and enjoy yourself. I mean, My God, Doug's been retired for 16 years. He had a goal to retire at 50 years of age. I retired at 54 years of age. I'm not going back into the workforce. I retired for a specific reason. I want to live and enjoy life. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on this earth. I mean, I'm healthy now, but we don't know what's going to happen. So plan your retirement. Don't let a life event plan it for you.
What's $1 get you in Mexican money in Mexico?
About 20 pesos.
Which buys you what? A margarita?
It isn't the reason to go live in Mexico to stretch your dollar, but it certainly is an advantage. Absolutely.
All right.
Jody and I can go out to dinner and eat and be full and have a couple of drinks, and we cannot spend $5 total.
Whoa. I know the audience had one of those uh-ohs. Cool.
Everybody's invited to Ron's place after this.
Right.
And I'll probably even buy.
Well, for $5, I'll buy, right?
Dick, any final comments?
Well, for me, selling the business was absolutely the right thing for me to do. I'm a builder. Retirement for me is just living my dream. You know,
you're not going to retire, by the way.
I'm not going to retire.
Yeah, I could tell that.
You have retired.
I have retired.
Your hobby has become very profitable.
That's exactly what everybody tells me.
Wow, that's exactly right.
You know, I'm just following my dream, and my dream right now is building art and also mentoring people. You know, that's a real big thing for me. That's the way I'm giving back right now. We always have an intern in there and mentoring, and makes me feel really, really good about that. So for me, I'll probably keep doing what I'm doing. I have a succession plan. In 8 years, I will no longer own the business, but I'll still own the real estate. And then I'll just be sitting there still keeping in touch with my clients. But, you know, I won't really have to do the business part anymore, which is okay with me.
I heard that key word, succession plan.
You got it. Gotta have one.
Hey, would you wrap this thing up for us, Jerry?
These are three of my best friends. And to see them succeed like this, I can't even tell you how much it means to me. When I get up and go to my shop in the morning, I get there between 6:15, 6:30 every morning. And I love going in there still. Someday I'm going to say, it's time. I got to go. I've been thinking about that. I've been talking to people. I've been reading about it. And the key word that Ron and Doug both said was plan. Ron was kind enough when he was getting ready to escape from the zoo to actually let me see the paperwork that he had gotten together, that he had paid a lawyer to draw up, just to see these are the kind of things you need to think of. So plan. I can't say any better than that.
Thank you. As always, when I seem to come to Vision and we pull these panels together, they go places I never would expect. So I really, Ron Haugen, thank you so much. Dick Jobe, Doug Stoll, and Jerry Holcom, thank you. And by the way, Jerry, when we finally got a chance a few years ago to sit down and do our one-on-one interview, please go to the website, look at the search bar, type in Jerry Holcom and check it out. It's just one of the best interviews I think we've ever done. So thank you for that. Guys, thanks a lot. Have a great show.
Thanks for having us, Carm.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.